Hello and good evening. Now, I am a couple of minutes early, so I'll just give it a couple of minutes purely because people won't have had the notification as yet. So as soon as I hear, or see rather, that people are coming online, I can see Janet's watching. The thing is, tonight, because we're in the So with Trisha group, I probably won't be able to see any comments. So I did think ahead. Oh, Lindsay's there too. I just thought that eventually the comments do come through, and if I start earlier, they might start coming through a little bit earlier. But let me just turn this way. Let me move myself back without hurting my back. So yes. It's only 18:29 at this point in time, but I know it will give you a little chance to get yourself settled down, ready to see how we make this really quite straightforward bag. But as usual, you can adapt it and add bits and pieces that you would like to do. You can add more pockets or a pocket inside. You could add zipped pocket. You could do whatever you like. But the shape is a little bit different to others that I've done. And it's just something, as I say, a little bit different, which is what I like to do. So let me just have a look, see if it's come up here as yet. And no, it hasn't, but I'm just waiting. It should pop up. Let's just get that out of the way. And we'll see. I might be lucky and the comments will come up here before I even think about it. Let's go home. Let's go home. Just go. Oh, here we are. See, I've popped up. There we are. Lindsay was first one there. Hi, Lindsay. Hello, Caroline. Hello, Vanessa. Yep, I am feeling a lot better. Tonight, for whatever reason, my ears have just started going funny again. But never mind. It's just me that's hearing it, not you. And my back is almost better. Got up this morning, fine, and then gradually a little bit, but it's okay. I'm really on the mend. So, hello Tracy. Tracy, we didn't get together, did we? But I am around, so whenever you've got a chance, just drop me a message and I'm bound to be here. I hope you all had a good Christmas and a happy New Year. As you know, it is our first anniversary, and before I look at any more of the comments saying hello to you, there's quite a few of you here. About an hour ago, what landed on my doorstep but this amazing, just look at those. Thank you so much, Lindsay and Trichette's. Lindsay popped them from all of you and herself, and it is so kind of you. I mean, it really cheers up. It was a nice day. It was a sunny day this morning, but it's gone quite miserable and cold now. But I just wanted to say a really heartfelt thank you to all of you for joining with me and, you know, sticking with me, staying in the group. And it's just lovely to have your company all the time. And thinking of all the things, the new bits and pieces in addition that are coming along, I'm really quite excited. I mean, I don't get excited about much. I usually say only when I'm getting a new sewing machine. That's the biggest amount of excitement. But the flowers come a very close second. So thank you so much. Oh, stay calm, stay calm. So, hello, Lorna. I'll also say thank you so much for... Oh, where are the comments going? Here we are. Let's turn me down. That's it. Yes, for all those payments that have all come in to carry on your membership. A lot of you have turned to the annual one, which is lovely, thank you. And others of you have carried on with your monthly standing order, which is absolutely fine. If you know anybody else that you would say they're missing out on something, just let them know. They'll be able to see. I'll probably talk about the group when we do the Friday Trisha time. And you never know, we'll perhaps have some of your friends joining us too. So, hello Sue, hello Pat, hello Dorothy and Barbara. Marion, missed a few there, and Jack, Marilyn, Anne, Lynn, Elaine, Jane, Caroline. They do match my outfit, don't they? Just a plain jumper, but it's nice and comfy. Hello Shirley, hello Jill and John, and hello Jill. Oh, it's changed all of them round again now. Lovely to see you all tonight. And I can see Patricia's watching there. And hello Pat. Hello Rosemary. You're looking forward to making the new bag? Yep. And all the new ideas. Yes, I've got the ideas there. I've got to get a few samples made of a few things, but oh, well, Lindsay, it said from Lindsay and the Trichettes. So, whoever it was then, who was it? Oh, I've left the card downstairs now, but it definitely says from Lindsay and all the Trichettes. Well. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Perhaps they're not for me, but absolutely lovely. I didn't recognise the girl came up and gave them to me, and I thought it was Amazon, but with flowers, and I thought, oh, well, I don't know. Let's see if all will be revealed at some point. Well, I never. Late Father Christmas. Happy New Year, Patricia. Was it Martin? No. He sent me flowers for my 60th, I think. And that's about it. I don't know. Perhaps he's laughing downstairs. I don't know. It wasn't Elaine, but you wished you'd thought of it. Oh, bless you. No, I think he'd have fessed up by now, but hello Glynis, hello Shirley, hello Patricia. You've already printed the file for the bag and you're raring to go. Fabulous, fabulous. Shall I give him a shout? No, it might sound a bit loud. He wouldn't know that we were called Trichettes, really. Oh, thank you, Sue. Well, ooh, that makes it very exciting, doesn't it? Doesn't it just? Oh dear. Amazing, amazing. What I thought, usually, I'm sorry tonight, it's usually a Tuesday, for the bag of the month, and it will be in February, it will be on the Tuesday, whatever the date is for the first Tuesday in the month. But today, and I'm glad I changed it to the Wednesday, because we had to check all of the subscriptions to the group. And you know what? It's taken us a couple of days, and we're still not quite finished. But it has taken all day yesterday and today, so it's surprising what goes on behind the scenes. And Lindsay, bless her, oh, she works her socks off. She is so wonderful to me. And I'm sure the flowers are from you, really. Oh, there's Anne. You're still not better, but you're watching. Oh, well, I hope you, I hope that you get better very, very soon. Oh, sounds a bit like me. It just keeps coming and going, doesn't it? Maybe it's well, yes, it worked, Barbara. It definitely did. Whoever sent them is creating a mystery. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Eileen. Hello, Janet. Hello, Penny. Lovely to see you all. Lovely. And hello, Janice. Lovely to see you too. And Angela. I wish I knew who sent them. I don't know. That really is a mystery, isn't it? Well. Hello, Julie. Gosh, there's lots of you here tonight. Oh, Jenny as well. I know. Who was it then? Who was it? Or who is it? Oh, hello, Kathleen. Hello, Leslie. The plot thickens. I know. I'll probably make this bag all wrong tonight because my mind will be going wherever. Well, Barbara's also still positive to COVID. Oh, my dear. Not your best, but so wanted to watch the first bag of 24. It's, yeah, if you can't watch tonight, don't worry, Barbara, because it will be on the group, and when you feel that bit better, you can watch it, or just take in what you can tonight, but it's not going to challenge you too much, I promise you. Hello, Pollyann. You're sipping your Prosecco. Oh, I didn't see that. You'll now raise a toast to Lindsay and all the Trisha. Oh, that's lovely, Pollyann. Very kind. Secret admirer, Caroline. Who would admire me? I don't know. Please make yourself known. yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get a lot of men from the USA who are usually ex-army or ex-navy or RAF who have got loads of money, or there's people in different countries of the world, attorneys that are giving me millions of pounds, you know, or dollars rather, and might be one of those, I suppose, because the thing is I tend to just delete it or block it. So oh, Eileen, bless you. Yes, are you sure about what the card says? Yeah. Do you mind if I run downstairs? Let me run downstairs. 2 minutes. Well, it won't take me that long, hopefully. Oh, as long as my back holds up. Martin? Did you send those flowers? Did you send those flowers? Yeah. Well, yes. I'm on my way back. I'm on my way back. And Martin says it wasn't him. Martin said he would have fessed up and it wasn't him. So this is what it says. Lindsay spelt wrong. There we are. So what do you think? Yes, that's true. Yeah, they're probably two Lindsay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it could be my hacker, wasn't it? You bet it was Victor. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, right, yeah. I say Lindsay spelt wrongly. So, I'm not holding it straight, am I? Or very still. How's that? Yeah, there is only one Lindsay. Exactly. You can't read it. Oh, let me just go again. Yes, the Trishette's is wrong. I won the prize. Must be another one. Ah. So, well, what wasn't expecting to say, it's got to be from someone who knows your address. Yes, and the florist may have typed it wrongly, exactly. Oh, it's too small on your phone. Zoom it out afterwards. And indeed, the plot thickens. Evening, Joanna. Can you see these beautiful flowers, Joanna? Did you send them? Because the card that I've just shown says that it was from Lindsay and all of you Trishettes. And, no, I don't think, no, it's from, there's a little, let me have a look. It's from In Bloom. Oh, there is my Victoria. Now, she knows I'm doing a live tonight. Bear with. Hello? Oh, she's gone. It's all right, she's gone. She's just realised. Hang on. Trisha is live. Am I still there? Am I still here? Can you hear me? I wondered if she was ringing to actually tell me it was her. But all she needs to do is go on the page and actually type it there. She popped round to see me. Oh, Lynn. Oh, bless you, Lynn. Oh, that is so kind of you. Lynn Gibbons. We see Lynn's name. I know your name, Lynn, because you're always around. Always. Oh, look at that, Lynn. Your comment, all those loves and likes. Oh, thank you so, so much. Oh, oh. I'm glad you're watching tonight as well, because that is so, so lovely of you. And to create such, oh, it's just amazing. Just the sort of thing that, oh, it's really touching. How lovely. Thank you. And so caring to put from everybody, you know. And that just shows what lovely, lovely ladies you are in the group. Beverly thought we were going to call in Inspector Clouseau. Yes, there. Isn't that lovely, Beverly, saying that it's from all of you. And yeah, I don't need 200 to 300 lots of flowers. It is just, oh, unbelievable. Yes. Martin needs a lesson from you, Lynn. But that is so, so very kind. And you don't know how touching that is. Absolutely lovely. Thank you. Oh, oh, yes. Just amazing. Just amazing. Well, I never. You was going to ring Poirot, says Sue. There. So, Lynn, you are going to be known by every single member of this group now. Everybody watching tonight, which there's coming on 100 people. So, you've probably got loads of friends anyway, but you've got even more now. And if they see your name anywhere, they'll say, that was the lovely lady that sent Trisha flowers. Yeah. Oh, and so, so kind. So, so kind. Ah, right. Mystery solved, but it was a lovely mystery to have to solve. I must admit, that's one of the nicest things that happened in a long, long time. Thank you so, so much, Lynn. Ah, right. Oh, just pressed something there. What did I press? Let's go back in case my machine's not going to do what I want it to do. That's it, we're on that one. That's all right. Okay. I know. I am beaming from cheek to cheek because that is just lovely. Just absolutely lovely. Right, shall we make a bag? Shall I show you? I did put a picture up because I know there was a couple of people asking, what does the bag look like? Well, as you know, I very rarely put the bag up too early before. I show it sometimes, don't I, in a live beforehand, just as a little taster, but I don't put a picture until it's actually in there. But I did tonight, just before we came on, and for those of you that were watching the other day, this is the bag. So it's perhaps it looks a little bit difficult, but I can assure you it isn't. So this one I've actually made with canvas, but the one I'm going to make tonight is just with cotton, 100% cotton fabric, and it's going to look just the same and give just as much body. Now the one I've made here, I've used fusible fleece. The one tonight I'm going to use thermolam, just for a change, just to see if it's very different. Well, I know it won't be. It will be very similar, just giving it a little bit, well, more body. I don't know, a different type of body. It will make it a little bit thicker because thermolam is, but soft. So we'll see how that goes. And as you can see, the base, which will give you an idea of what the template is like. So the shape of the template, let me just show you, is like this. Okay. And what have oh, I've just put a measurement on there when I've made it up. So that's the shape of the template, and all you're going to need is 4 pieces of fabric for the outer. So as you can see here, I've got 2 different fabrics, the pale grey and the patterned. So it's 2 of one and 2 of the other, or you could do all 4 in the same colour. 4 pieces of wadding, this shape, and 4 lining pieces this shape. So basically as simple as that. So when you get your pattern, or when you've printed out the template rather, that's the shape you will have, sort of rectangular on 3 sides with this cutout, and then this part here is drawn in the centre of the actual template. So all you need to do, you can either trace that or cut that centre one out, and you'll just join it next to each other. Can you see I've just put sellotape there, or tape, clear tape, and I've just joined it from one edge to the other to give me my piece. So there's no particular size. Whatever size your printer comes out, it isn't going to make any difference to your bag. Apart from, you know, if it prints out slightly smaller, it's going to be minimally smaller. I wouldn't even say 1/4 of an inch, pardon me. But the shape, because you're cutting all the same shapes for all the pieces, they're all going to fit whatever size it comes out. This one is actually, let me just have a look, just over 7.5 inches wide. But what I do when I design it, it is the size whatever. Now when I did do this is not my first one. Don't know where my first one I did, it wasn't big enough for what I wanted. So I have made it a little bit bigger, and it doesn't fit on an A4 sheet from top to bottom. Can I ring you when I can? Oh. Right, let me, I think I might have something extremely important. Let me have a look. Let me just, I'm sorry to interrupt, but might be just a sec. Martin, can you give Vic a ring? Because she wants me to ring her. Can you ring Vic to see? Yes, because she sent me a message to say to ring her. I don't know what's happening. And then bring your phone upstairs if it's urgent. Yeah? Oh. I am sorry. I do get a bit, I'm sorry about that. Oh, you can. Oh. Yeah, go and talk to her. Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? I've got Martin to ring her just to see if it is very, 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 I don't know what's going on, but bear with me a minute. It's all right, I can... Panic over. Panic over. Thank you so much. Oh, you're so kind. Oh, you really are. Panic over. No, she said, no, don't worry. I forgot you were doing a live. And no, it's just something I just need to talk to you about, but it doesn't matter. Oh, she's watching now. So we're all fine. We're all fine. Oh, no, Joanna, it was just to make a quick phone call, but everything is fine. So don't worry. Don't worry. Phew. Who knows? I have these moments in my life where it's just, oh, right, but we're okay. We're okay. So that's where we got to. We got to the template. So as I said, just going over that again, you need 4 pieces exactly the same size for the outer. You could have all 4 pieces exactly the same. Or, as I've done, I'm just using 2 different colours. And also, when we come to actually put the handles on, we could make it, let me just put it this way, if we put the handles on differently, we could actually make it so it looked like that. So you've got the plain in the centre and the patterns on the outside. And now whoever, I think it was Wendy, was saying, similar shape to the Ava bag, absolutely, but it's made with the Ava bag has actually got rectangular shapes and put together slightly differently, but similar and a really handy shape. So apart from that, we have got a little flap, a little tab here, a little flap with a magnetic clasp, so I'll show you how to put that on. And the handles, as you see here, have got, let me just bring that a bit closer, they've got an edging, so you have the one fabric up the middle, and then we have a little edge which is easy to do because it's the same colour all along the back. Nice easy way of doing this as well, just to be a little bit different. So let us begin. Let's pop this here. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I've done a little bit in advance because time is always of the essence, isn't it? So my two colours this time, and I also haven't put a kit on the website yet. My two fabrics are, I just picked them up, a flowery, so this is cotton fabric and not canvas, but you can use whatever you like, and this one here. So there's a navy with a spot on, and then a navy with a floral, and I thought that might go quite nicely together. It's good to give things a try when you wouldn't normally. I was going to go for a plain navy, and to be honest, I couldn't be bothered to go out to one of the studios, and I thought, what have I got here? And I thought that might work. So 4 pieces, so I've got 2 of this colour and 2 of this, and I've actually put the Thermolam on the reverse. I've used 505 fusible fabric fusible spray, or like I've done around here, I've done a large stitch all around the edge just to hold it all together. It's just one of the belt and braces things I like to do so that things don't slip. So we're going to put them together in pairs. So I'm going to pop them right sides together, and you're going to have 2 pairs that you're going to stitch right sides together. And all you've got to remember is, I've done one already. This one I've done here, I've got the spotty at the bottom and I'm putting the flower on the top. So you do exactly the same with the second pair, so which is the wrong way up. So I have got spotty on the bottom and flowers on the top, and then I'm going to stitch down this side, the right hand side. So all I'm going to do is line those pieces up, and if you cut them all at the same time, you know it's going to fit perfectly. So I'm just going to put the camera down onto the needle, and I'm going to, because I do like to have light when such dull days, but I'll turn the light down so that we can see that better. Okay, so let us go here. There we go. So I've got my fabric. I have got the, let's see, spotty on the bottom, flowers on the top, the same as the other one, and then I'm going to stitch down this side to that point there. I am going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to use, because I'm going through wadding as well, I'm just going to use the standard, the default stitch length, which is 2.5 on the majority of machines. Oops, what are you doing now? Oh, pressing that wrongly. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Pressing the wrong part of the machine, on the pedal rather. So we will go all the way down. Now, don't go at the speed that I go. You go at your desired speed. So if you like to go a little bit slower, absolutely fine. And if you like to pin around the edge, I'm just going around the curved part now. If you like to go around the edge a bit slower, by all means do, but I just allow that, and I'm just going to reverse at the end and then cut the thread. Okay, so I'm just going to check on that side just to make sure, yeah, I've stitched all the way around. So I have stitched down there, so I've got my spotty and my flower, and I have then done it the wrong way round. No, I haven't, or have I? Let's just have a look. Having said that, look what I've done. Look what I've done. I have done it the wrong way round. What we should get is a seam ripper. Seam ripper. There we are. I knew things would just... I should have got my... I've got my really nice seam ripper, and let's see. So what we want to do is have them both the same, so that when we put the two pieces together, they actually alternate. So we have one piece followed by one piece. I told you everything would go wrong, didn't I? And now I'm all warm with my jumper on. There we go. So I'm just making sure with the seam ripper, I am popping the bobbly bit. This is actually, I think, a seam ripper that came with the machine, and it's not actually the nicest. My Madeira ones are really the best, or the ones that came in the advent boxes have got that nice little red bead. See how quickly we can get this unripped, and which saves you, most definitely saves you from ripping the fabric. But we're nearly there. And then see what a little bit of panic gets me into, doing it wrongly. I said all the right things. You make sure that they both, you put bits together. You see what I've done? I think I must have flipped it over. So we've got those there now. Okay, so here we have, right, I'm going to stitch down this side. So I need to have spotty at the bottom and flower at the top. Have a look at it. So we've got that there already done. So if I stitch down here, I'm just looking to see that that is now going to alternate. So Trisha, let's get it right this time. So I'm just lining that top edge up, and we're going to go again. I think the machine started to go, right, let's go. I think I may have been putting my, that's it, so I'm lining that point up, just so that, there we go, there we go. So we'll stitch down here at speed, which is what I was telling you, you go at the speed that you would like to go at, and just check before, that's it, just reversing that there. Oh, I'm now trying to press my foot pedal to cut the threads, which obviously I do on my dukey. So let's see, that's all stitched around there. So now I have got two pieces the same, which is what I want, so that when we put them right sides together, let's just go back a little bit here. So I've got two the same. Can you see I have two the same there? Then when I turn one over and lay onto the other piece, like so, I am actually going to alternate the fabrics, which is what I wanted to do. So now I am going to use a pin at this stage, because, so I'll pop that just there, and then we get round to this bottom piece where the two bottom bits come together. So I'll just line those up, because it's nice if they do, and you will find that when you stitch, it will just lay down however it would like to, because it is not a perfectly flat base. So having aligned that, and then all the way down here, just make sure those line up too. Let's put the odd pin in here. So I'm just lining these curved edges in particular, like so, and then there I can see all that raw edge up the side. So we will start stitching here. And I am going to reverse at the top. That's it, just to hold that nice and firmly. There we are. Okay, whoops. Right, it's decided it's going to needle up. It's going to cut my thread, okay, because I just went a little bit too fast, I believe. Oh, there we go. Right, and around, up and down, under there, across there, and let's thread the needle. Let's see. Oh yes, we did thread the needle. That's good. Just pull that through. Right, bingo, let's start again. Right, here we go, that's better. So I'm just lining that up as we go down here. And we've got just this side and the other side to sew together. But as I said before, that they will line up because they are all the same template piece. Okay, so round we go, round to that centre point, and as we come up to that centre point, what we can do, I'll take the pin out and just, I'm going to flap one way and one the other way, and it will go over slightly bulkier there, but I'm just going to pull those round so that these line up too. I'm just going to pop a pin in here. There's a pin, so I popped a pin at this end and around, as I say, just to get these curves lining up beautifully. So there we go, and I've got my hand over there, and around we go. So the 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way, just making sure that those edges align beautifully down the sides. And I think that just, oh, let's just move that, let's just come a little bit, that's just slipped a little, and that's where on this side I didn't actually, I didn't cut that as I went. There we go. So, took that pin out there. So there we have, there is the base, and all we need to do, let me just trim this thread first of all, and then I'm going to turn this to the right side, and we can just check that all these seams are stitched and we haven't got any holes. So I've turned it to the right side, and when you put your hands in just to push it out, what you'll get is basically a square base. So let's just scratch that out there and that out there, and can you see how we've got that nice base with like diagonal seams? But here is the, just take it back just that little bit further. So there easily is your base of your bag. So as I said, you can either, when we put the handles on, it can come out like that, or we could have that as the centre, and our bag could have the floral bits at the side and the plainer one in the centre. So entirely up to you, but there is our base to start off with. So I'm going to set that aside for the moment, and what we will do now is with our lining pieces, we'll do that next. So with the lining, I've stitched 2 together already. With this, all 4 pieces are the same, so we're not going to have a problem of alternating wrongly like I just did, but we're just going to line that one edge up again. So I'm going to do it in 2 pairs. You could keep adding one to the next if you'd like to, but we may as well, whoops, there we are, we may as well try to do it in exactly the same way, then there's no thought needed. So let's just pop that one together, and I'm just again sewing right down this edge here. So let's put that there. So I'm just sewing down this, I call this the curved edge, because we're coming down the straight side, but then we're going to come around this curve just to the point. Okay, so we've come to the point there, and then we can open this piece out to the right side, and we'll take our other piece, which I've already stitched together, open that out and put right sides together. Now the only difference here is when we stitch up this side seam and this one all the way round, we're going to leave a gap in one side. So as per usual, I like to do it in the very first seam, so that if I forget, because you know how it is, we start stitching and we carry on going, and then we think I should have left a gap there. So I'm just lining up that base seam there, just making sure that, and that curve. If I do it on the first side, if I say that's where I'm going to leave my gap, about here, Then if I forget, I've got the other side that I could do it on instead. So there we go, we are ready there. So we'll just give that, oh, I don't know what I've done, but I think we're doing a reverse before we start. Right, let's carry on. Oh yes, I must have programmed something that it does a little reverse before it starts stitching. There you go, see, I nearly forgot there. So let's just reverse off there. And what you could do is have a little, put a pin there so that you know that you're going to stop. So I'm stopping there, skipping down, not quite, I'm still on the straight edge. I don't really want to be so far down on that curve. There we go. So I'm just going to carry on now because I've remembered to do the, to leave the gap. So I'm just making sure that lines up nicely. Carry on round. And I want this side to line up as well. So probably should have done that in advance, but we'll just line those sides up like so, and that curve is lining up too. So I'm just going to stitch around there and pull that curve over so that that lines up properly there, and just carry on stitching all the way around and up. So this top edge here should line up, and that's important because that's where the handles are going to fit. Okay, so let's just so that's actually reversing and cutting without me putting my finger there. Never mind whatever I've done. So there is my lining. So I'm going to set that aside for a moment while I make the handles. So the handles, what we need here. I've made one already. So here is my handle. It has the floral in the middle and the spotty at the sides. And it looks as though we've done something quite difficult or a little bit complicated to get that nice edge to it. But we haven't, in fact. So how we're going to make these is we are going to have 2 pieces of fabric to make our handle. One is narrower than the other. So whatever is going to be your main, or the fabric which isn't the edges is the one that's narrower. So the fabric that's going to be sitting at the edges of the fabric, that one is wider. So here is your wider one. And with the narrower one, the focal one, I've actually put a strip of fusible fleece on there just to give it a little bit of body. As it's cotton rather than canvas, I just felt we'd need a bit more body in there anyway. So I fused that to the back of my fabric strip. And now all we're going to do is put these 2 pieces right sides together. So, and you can see straight away, like this, that the width doesn't match as it would normally. So there we go. So I'm lining this the 2 edges up here, nice straight edge, so we can just skip down here pretty quickly. So there is my first. There we are. Oh, that's doing it all on its own. Well, I've touched the machine somehow, and it's now, when I press reverse, it's cutting the thread after it's done a reverse and then cut the thread. I really don't know. So let's carry on. So here I have my 2 pieces stitched together. What I find it easier to do now is to fold it like so that the narrower piece is underneath, and then you can just give it the little bulge of extra fabric can just be pulled away so that you can line up the edge to the edge now. Okay, so you might think I need to put a pin or 2 down here, because can you see how there's extra fabric? But it is easier to bring the wider fabric on the top and line it up as you go. So let's just go, that's it. So let's start stitching here, and then all I do is just keep this fabric a little bit away. You can see that extra lump there, but we just line up the raw edge, and being cotton, so there's that lump. Being cotton, it does sit nicely together. It doesn't slip. I wouldn't dream of doing this if I was using satin or a chiffon or anything like that, because it would slip everywhere, or say velvet, so any other fabric. But just line that raw edge, and I use my fingers just to hold that down, and then we can just scoot down that edge there, and then we'll cut the thread. Okay, so now the other thing that is nice and easy to do, so we've got to turn this through, and if you've got an open end at each end, it's not easy. So all I do here is just flatten the wider one down. So I've flattened it there, and I'm going to stitch across that edge. So very close to the edge, because I don't want to take the any of the length off. Okay, so having done that, I can then just push that first little bit in, and then I'm actually using, I forgot to find my knitting needle or long pokey tool, but I'm using a pencil, the end of a pencil, and I'm just putting that in. I've got the pencil sticking into my body. A knitting needle would be much better, but then you can just pull this, because you've got the excess fabric, it is quite easy to just pull that down. And I'm just going to grab that little bit, just pull it down as far as you can, like so, and as soon as the end pops out, I will pull the pencil out. Well, I'm just going to push that down. Before I do, I'm just using the pencil to just push the fabric out, so I've got a nice rectangular end there. Take that out, pull the rest of it, so that's done nicely, and then at this end we can just trim that bit off. So on the seam, minimally there, just take that seam off, and we've got our there's a little bit of extra fabric there, but that's fine. So just clip that now, so that that's nicely opened up. So all we need to do now, and I'll just move these beautiful flowers away, all we need to do now is to give it a little press. So let's just bring that over there. So let's bring this over to the ironing board here, and all I'm going to do here is just roll that, just give it a little roll, and you can actually see, let's go there, whoops, this way there, so that you can see that each side is roughly the same, and that fits quite nicely down the middle to give you a nice even edge. So the binding of, there we are, so just do that there. So as I say, if you just flatten that down with your fingers, and just to give an even edge too, there we are, that looks pretty good. There we go. Right, so that is all nicely pressed now, so that you've got a nice edge on each side and nice little bit of body to that. And then just bring that back in. We'll go back to the machine, because all I'm going to do now is to top stitch, whoops, just inside on the flower fabric, just inside, just to give it a little edge to it. Let's see, I'll go too, but there we go. So for here, I'm going to increase my stitch length to 3, because I just want the stitches to be a little bit longer. That's it. And then I'm just using the edge of the binding, just so that I'm stitching, just doing a little stitch going down there, just as a little extra. Okay, that's righty-ho. So it's done a little reverse at the end and cut the thread, and then I'll just go down this end as well. So I'm sure this is there we go. So we'll stitch down here. And really, all it's doing is holding the fabric, the spotty fabric that's come all the way around from the back. And we just trim that off. So you can see there, you can hardly see that I've done it in grey thread, but you can see on the back you've just got some stitch lines going down there. It just holds it all together nicely. So I do have 2 of my handles. So with 2 of my handles, I'll do this little bit first. What I'm going to do, have a look to see which part of your bag, because I need to do, oh, we have comments, wonderful. If you want this to be the centre of the front of your bag, then when you take your handles, it's going to go the right side of the handle down to the centre of this piece here. And we'll pop a pin just to hold that. And then just make sure that we don't twist the handle, and then pop it onto here. So centred onto the width here, which is for the handles. So we'll just pop a pin in there. And you can have a look then to see that that's where the handles are going to go. Now it could be that you would like this to be your centre, and you might like the handles to come off of your centre with the flowers on, which would be quite nice. So you would put your handle there and to there, and then, as I say, the handles would come up like so. But I've decided I like the floral panel in the centre, so I'm going to have mine situated there. Now normally I would actually put 2 pins in here, but we are going to stitch it down. So then we take the other one, make sure there's no twist in here. I've got a naughty little bit just there. Let's just take that off, and then just centre that one there as well. You'll see the amount of fabric each side there. So that is like that. Now, because I've got used to not having pins all around the top, so instead I've put the pin there just to hold it a little bit. But now what I'm just going to stitch across the handle, so that when I come to stitch around the top, I'm not going to need to have pins in the way. So I'm just going to go about 1/8 of an inch in, just to stitch along there, so that my handle is now held in place without any pins being there. So I'll just go to the other one. We'll do this with all 4, and then pins do tend to get in the way sometimes, and so just by stitching it in place, that's all nicely anchored. And there will be more pins that we need to do, so I just flip to the other side, and we'll do exactly the same. Get that part out of the way, so we can make sure that the handle is lying nicely. Quite difficult to see because there's spot on spot there. There we go. So that's just anchoring that one loosely, if you like, but it's just taking away the need to have pins. Ow, you see, like I pricked myself there. That's it. Let's just go here. So that's just held that. So they're basically temporarily held in place, and I now don't need to have any pins. So they're in place. Now the other thing we need to do is the flap. So let's do our flap. Now the flap is somewhere here, or have I put it over here? No, it's under here. That's it. I see. So the flap piece, you've got 2 pieces and a bit of wadding. So I put some wadding under what will be the front piece and the back piece. You could actually have this in the spotty, so that you've got a spotty piece, which would have been good actually, going over the flowers. So what we're going to do though is, first of all, one side. Now if you've got directional fabric, make sure you trim at the right end, and this fabric is directional, so I want to curve this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I curve this end. So I'm just going to fold that in half, and I'm just going to curve this around. If you want to place a circular object on there, you're quite welcome to, and draw a line and then trim it, or just go for it. So having trimmed that, so that's nicely curved, I'm then going to pop this on here, which I want, the curve is going to be at the bottom. So my leaves are going this way, so I want my curve here. So I'm going to pop it round. I'm just going to line those pieces up, and then I'm going to trim exactly the same here, just so that my two pieces match. Now, rather quite often I'll fold both pieces together and trim both pieces, but when it's got wadding on, it sometimes isn't quite even. So I've trimmed that. The next thing or before I stitch it together, what I do need to do is put one part of the magnetic clasp on my lining piece, so the piece that has got nothing on it. So let's see, to put our magnetic clasp, so I need my washer, and I need the, here we go, oh, that's a tough one. We need that part as well. We need the outy part. I like to have the bit with the knobbly bit on my bag flap. And then the other thing we need is a little bit, which I have here, a little bit of wadding or interfacing or fabric, because I want that, because we are having, because this is going on to just fabric itself, I want there to be a bit of strength in it. So I've got that just to give strength. So to find where I'm going to put this, I'm going to locate my bag clasp down, my magnetic clasp down here. So I'm going to fold it in half without creasing it, and I'm going to pop a pin in that fold line about an inch above the bottom edge there. So I put a pin in there, and that is where my clasp is going. So I'm just going to make a little mark. I'm going to make a circle where that pin is. There we are. I have a circle, and I'm going to bring you a bit closer so you can see. So I put a little circle there. Then I'm going to get my washer and put the circular hole in the centre over that that circle, and I'm just going to mark a little line, whoops, in there. So in these vertical slots I've made a little mark. Take that away and get my seam ripper, which I was using, and now there it is. And then I'm going to very carefully use my seam ripper, and I'm just going to put a little hole, just the smallest slit, very carefully, in both of those vertical lines that I did. Whoops, that went a bit long. Ew. So then I'm going to take the prongs here, and I'm going to pop them into those slits that I've made. So there's one slit. Let's just hold that here. So there's one slit, pop it through, and there's the other slit. So I've got my two slits with the prongs coming through, and I'm then, pop that just there. I then need to make two little holes in my wadding for the prongs to go into as well. So I've just gauged where that would be, and I'm going to put the prongs into the wadding as well. So now I've got that little bit of wadding on top, and that's just going to strengthen where the clasp is. Then I'll put my washer on top. Then I'm just going to press these outwards. You can press them inwards if you want to, but I nearly always press them outwards, and that is holding my magnetic clasp in place, and there is my clasp. So the clasp is on the outer fabric on the right side of that. So the next thing I'm going to do is pop it right sides together, like so. Now I've got it right sides together, I'm going to stitch all around, so from the top all the way around. Now let's just make sure I have got, I want my stitch size to be back to normal of a 2.5, and there we go. I'm just going to stitch all the way around the edge. So round the curves, go a little bit slower. There we go. This is why the magnetic clasp should be about an inch above, because you don't want that to get in the way of your foot as you come around. There we are, as you come around the curve there. Okay, so having stitched around there, we can either then clip into these curves at each side, or you could use pinking shears if you wanted to. But what I prefer to do is just trim this back purely on the curve, or the curves here, like so, like that, and just to trim that up so it's a narrower seam there. And then when we turn it through to the right side, like so, I'm just going to run my fingers along that seam just to push that out, and then we're just going to press it. Okay, so roll that out a little bit. That's pressed out really nicely, and I have come a little bit close to the bottom there, but I think we'll get away with it. On the instructions I have put it an inch up, and I haven't quite gone an inch up. So let me just take this over to the iron, and I'm sure you know how to just press around those edges. So I've done that, so that's made that nice and neat. Now, what I also like, I'm going to just show you one of the stitches that you have on your machine, and you're all bound to have one, is a triple stitch. And the triple stitch has, it stitches over the same area 3 times. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this, I'm going to move the needle across, because, there we are, I want it to be at about 1/4 of an inch in. So I'll come in close here, because I want you to just see what the triple stitch does, and it just gives a really nice finish. And you'll see let me show you around this one here. So here is the bag flap here. Now, can you see that stitch? I haven't used thicker thread, which I could do, but I've used a triple stitch around there. And what it does, it goes 3 times over the same stitch. So it's like a running stitch or a straight stitch, but there's 3 times that it goes over there. So let me show you how this is going to work. So you can see from the needle. So let's see if we can start now. There we go. So it goes backwards and forwards. Okay, so you can see, I would go fairly slowly around here as well. So, and especially when you're going around the curve. So it's just my foot that is not pressing the pedal. There we go. So I'm just going around this curve slowly-ish, because we want to try and keep it, which I've gone in a little bit there because my magnetic clasp was a bit low, but we'll come out a little bit further there. There we go, so that we've got the rest of it will be the same all the way round. I mean, it's not, if you keep the same distance from the edge all the way round, obviously more ideal, but if you haven't got you've got your magnetic clasp too low down, there we are, and then we'll cut the thread. So there we have. Can you see how, especially on this white bit here, it just gives you a much clearer, so I've gone down a little bit too far there because my magnetic clasp got in the way, but it just gives that a nice edge on both sides. You can see it on the flowers here where it's white, and if you use a contrast thread it will be even better. Right, so what we're going to do now we have our flap ready. What we're going to do is we're going to pop this. So what I suggest you do here is actually audition the flap to the bag. So the flap is going to come like this. It's going to come over from the back of the bag. So here it is, there, and it's going to come over the front like so. So because it's coming from this side, okay, what we need to do is flip that back so that it is this way. Okay, now what we're also going to do is we're going to find the center here. So to start off with, I'm just going to pop a pin there across here, just for you to see that, check that you've got it the right way round. So there is the bag. Here is here's the magnetic clasp. It needs to come over the front. Let's just turn that around, and that is going to be correct. So we're going to put another part of magnetic clasp on this side, but that is going to go over there. So we've got it right. So it's correct where it's positioned here. And now the only thing we need to do here is just to make sure that this is in the centre. So I'm going to take the pin out and pop it back in the other way, just so that I can fold. I'm just going to fold this, the top of the bag to the top of the bag, to find that centre. And that isn't quite in the centre here. I can see that needs to come over the tiniest bit. Put that pin back in. So I'll just fold that again, align that edge up there. There we go. So now I can see that that's at the centre, and there's the centre of our flap. Or is that the centre of the flap? No, that's right. So let's just take the pin out. I know where it's going to go against the bag, but I need to find the centre of this too, which is there, and pop that in the centre. So now I know that that is perfectly in the centre of this edge here. So again, rather than having a pin sitting there, just fold those bits out of the way, and we're going to stitch this about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, just to hold the flap in place. Oh, I'm still on that's it. We'll revert back to our normal stitch, which is our 1/4 inch, and we'll do it on the 2.5 because we don't need to triple stitch along there. So just make sure, there we are. So we've got that. So we've got the flap attached too. Okay, so there is our flap already attached, no pins in place. So we've got everything we need to go now. So here is our lining, and we leave the lining with the right side of the fabric on the inside, because what we're going to do is put our bag into. So I would just scrunch it a little bit so that the base of the bag can go into the lining. And because the lining is basically generic, it will fit whichever way round it goes. All we're going to do is line up one of the, where the handles are of the lining, and we are going to, well, I need a few more pins. We're just going to line that up, and this is where we need the extra pins anyway, and we'll pop a pin into the top there, and then we just move the bag around, and we'll get the next piece, the next top of the handle, and we will pop a pin in there, and then we will go around to the next piece. So the handles, it's good that the handles are already stitched in place, because they've got no chance of moving and not being in the right angle. Sometimes they get pulled off a little bit. Make sure everything's tucked inside, push that down a little bit, and then our last handle piece, pop that handle down and center that should just fit nicely anyway. So there we are, and then if you push that down, you can see that all of these pieces are going to line up too. So we'll have one more pin. I would put as many pins as you want around here to line these curved pieces up as well. And let's just see, I'm finding a few more. Okay, and then you might have to just push your hand into the lining, push the outer bag down a bit so that you can get all these pieces just lining up nicely, all those edges. But as we say, because I've lost the rest of my pins there, so I am going, the easiest way to do, if you can take your any extension table off, I'm just going to whisk that down there. The easiest way to do it is now to, with your free arm, can you see there, so that I can pop my bag over, and all I'm going to do, I'm actually going to stitch, I'm not going to I'm going to stitch right across here, which is the handle, and let's just pop that on there. So right across the top of the handle, and right to the other side, rather than stopping. So I've gone all the way around there, and I've cut that off there. And now I'm going to start again. So a little bit like patchwork, if you like. I am going over, so I'm going right from the edge, and I'm going over that seam, and I'm just curving around here, and going straight across the straight edge, and then around the curve. So go a little bit slow around here, make sure that lines up here, round that curve, and all the way off to the top, and trim. And then I'm going to, so I've cut off there, and then I'm going to go across the top of the, where the handle is placed below. If this is one of the areas where the handle is, just make sure that is lined up at that side as well. So straight across that top edge. Very rarely would I do this. I would go the whole way round and just pivot at the corners, but I find it gives it a better hold to it all. Let's just feel, I can feel a bit of handle there. Let's just move that out of the way because we don't want, oh there it is, that's it, just push that out of the way. So the handle was, I could just feel part of the handle moving across there. So straight in again, let's get our needle up onto the fabric, that's it. So around the curve, we've got 4 of these curves to actually go around. So just carry on around, and there's always after the curve, you've got that nice straight edge as well. Okay, so that's it. And come in, just keep moving your work so that that just all fits nicely as we're going around the curves and up to that straight edge. And I have still got the pins in on these other parts. So again, just take your pins out before you get to them, and straight across here. And really, I think the if we got pins in all underneath as well, it would just be a little bit more awkward. So the fact that we've actually stitched so we don't have the pins sitting there is much easier to work with. So just lift that a little bit there, just so that we can carry on, and then just turn that around into the straight edge and coming up to that pin there. The straights are always really easy, but then just move it around that curve. Now the curve isn't that angular that we'll need to clip into that. They will just fit really nicely. And so when we pull the bag through to the right side, there's not a problem. I wouldn't cut into those curves because it would just weaken that part of the bag. So we just stitch straight across there, and I think we're probably just coming up to the last one. We are. So the last curve one, so again, in from the edge, there we go, in from the edge, and around that curve, into the straight. Take that pin out, just, and so you could have more pins in here if you like, but we can just move that fabric over so that it's all fitting nicely. Oops. Now I can see that hasn't fitted nicely there. I went in just that little bit, so I don't think, so let's come out just that little bit more so that we have got all the fabric taken in. There we go. So all the way now around the top of the bag is all stitched all around these. We could trim away some of these bits of thread, a little bit there, so that we haven't got lots of loose ends, especially when you've got a light lining. It could show through if you haven't clipped those bits away. So the next thing we need to do, get those bits out, is find our gap, which is here. And all we need to do now is just pull part of the bag through, like so. And I just keep sort of turning it round and giving a little pull. It's called berthing, isn't it, the bag here. So if you can get hold of a handle, that helps it come through too. And I could have left a slightly bigger hole, but the smaller the gap, the less you've got to close at the end. Okay, so there we go. There we have our handle, like so. And there we have another handle. Oh, that slipped a bit. Now, can you see how I've just slipped just a little bit? The flap is in there, which is great. And those are going to be there as well. Now, the only thing we need to do is now, at this point, we're going to push the lining into the bag. We're not going to neaten it all round now, because what we need to do first of all, and we're not going to close the gap, first of all, we're going to take our flap and we're going to bring that through as if we're closing the bag. So let us just push that down, okay, and we'll push that lining part in there, and we're going to bring this over as if we're closing the bag, so we can line up where the handles are, like so. So the handles are there, and just hold that together, and where the flap comes over, just holding that neatly at the top, what we can do is pop a pin, or I'm going to have a look here so I can see that's where it's going to go. It's a little bit hidden. Now where that metal clasp down here, where it comes, I am going to have a look to see where it hits the fabric. And I can see, let me hold it this way for you. Let's just squash that down because that doesn't matter. I'm looking at where that pin comes down to the fabric. Can you see there? And where I put that pin is just the right place. So let's just put a pin there. Now what we can do just to be sure is at the right level, but if we want to just measure to make sure that's central, and 7, 3.5, that is spot on, okay? So that's exactly in the middle when I'm measuring across here. So what we need to do now is we need to, so I didn't close that gap. Here is the gap. So I'm going to put my hand in the gap. So make sure you leave your gap. Well, I'm going to put my hand in there so that I can feel here where that pin is. Now you can either take your magnetic, you can take your washer again to there, or if you're used to it, you can now just put a little slit either side, so just the tiniest of slits, and I'm just holding that there so the pin is in line with the circular hole, and then I'm going to put a little slit to the other side. So what I could have done, oh, I could have put that over there, couldn't I? Put that over, little slit in there, little slit in there, which I have done. I can take that pin out now and I can see where they are. Then I'm going to take my other part of the metal clasp, pop that into the slits that I made, and I'm going to put my thumb on the top there because I want to have a look on the inside. So there it is. Can you see that there? Now I don't need to put wadding on here. You can put a bit more if you want to, but there's wadding already there, so doesn't need it particularly. And then I'm going to take my washer, pop it onto the clasp, splay those legs like so, those prongs, and there it is in place. Okay, so you can just try it out. Pop that lining back, pop that through, and there is the bag clasp in place. Easy peasy. So the only thing we need to do now is, or the last of two things, is to close the lining. So what I like to do is to just, where the gap is, I get my hand at either side so that I can just, with my fingers, just push that 1/4 of an inch in that seam, and I just run my nails along there just to push those seams together, and then I'm just going to stitch along here to close that gap. So starting just a short distance away from where the gap starts, so where it is already joined, but it just means that, and I would go for, I mean, I have got grey thread here, which it'd been far better to have cream thread, but I'm just going to start stitching here, and I'm just going quite close to the edge, but I'm holding that together and just closing that gap by stitching right close to the edge, and as I say, going a little bit further than the gap, and that's just going to finish that off and cut the thread, and we'll trim away the little, there we go. So just trim that little bit of thread there, trim that bit of thread there, give the lining a bit of a tug just to make sure that that is fixed, and it is, and then you can pop your lining back into the bag and give it a press. So I'm putting my hands into the base so that I can push that in, and what I find is the best is to give it a press around these top edges. Now what I should have done, at the corners of the bags here, we can just, with a pointy end, I'm just pulling that little bit out there. So if you just put your seam ripper in, or a pokey tool or a stiletto, just to pull that out a little bit so that you've got a nice neat edge. You see it just comes out a little bit more here. On the side of it, you can see you've got 2 different fabrics, which looks really nice. And just push that around, and then similarly here, just pull that through, and I'm just pulling it, a bit like if you're doing a collar, if you're a dressmaker, you just ease those bits out, don't you, like this, just to pull that. Or had I, before I'd closed the gap, I could have gone in with bamboo stick or knitting needle just to push those bits out, but just so they're nice and neat. And here too, let's see, I think that's just moved across a bit. Oh, that's better. That's it. Pull that one out, and we'll pull this one out too. And then all that remains is to top stitch all the way around the top. So let's just, there we go. So that's got that one out nicely. Okay, so as I say, what I would do is just push my hands into it. I would press all around the top edge here on the lining before you actually stitch it, and it just means then you don't have to keep pulling the fabric out of the way. Let's just close that up there and pull that out. Let me just put, there we go. So there it is for the moment. I'm just going to get something to give it a bit more weight on the inside. You see there was a bit of fabric here. Let's just pop this in the base, and then it will just give it a little bit more body, so that you can see how when you've got all your things, all your purse, your phone, keys, whatever, just putting something in the base there just to hold that inner fabric down. So that's holding that down. That's better. Once it's been given a nice press and the top stitching, it looks pretty good. Now the other thing you could do is you could use the Styleville foam wadding. So let me just go up here and I'll show you what the top. I would go round with it is. I would go round with top stitching. Where are we? Where's my? There's my flap there. So we'd top stitch around the flap. It just takes a little while to get your top stitching. That's it in place. Just put that flap on there. But you can see the top stitching around the top of the bag here. It just gives it, and around that edge there. So that's how I would finish off this one here. So we'll pop that just there a moment. And this one, there we go. I think perhaps so. So there is the blue spotty one too. So there's the back, and there's the front with the flap. And looking at it now, I think had I done this, the flap, in the spotty, it would have gone really, really quite well. Now, when you're making your own, let's look at it like that. You could actually make your handles that bit longer if you wanted to. Where are we there? Yeah, I've got a little skew on there. You could make the handles longer if you want to, but for me, that just over my hand is quite nice level, decent size. It is decent size actually, because it is probably about 5 inches across there. Now the other thing which I did suggest when I showed it earlier is what you could do is push these sides in and put a popper, so that if you wanted to, can you see how that goes in like so? I'm just going to push this other side in as well, so that goes like that. And you could have a bag which looks narrower. Let's just pop that in because I filled it out with something. So it looks narrower, but if you had a press stud or cam snap in there, you could then open it out if you wanted to make it wider. But if you wanted it to be narrower, you could actually do that. So yeah, versatile. And like I also showed, if you wanted the spotty, if you're doing 2 fabrics, you know, you could have the spotty as your main one, just depending on where you put your handles. But even when it's sitting down like that, the handles with the spotty against there looks, yeah, really. Oh, thank you, Trudy. You can't wait to. Well, it is really quite straightforward, and as you see, it's got a nice diagonal bottom, just with the crossover. But to think this is made from 4 identical shapes just put together. Lunch bag, fabulous. Yes. Lovely, Kathleen. I'm glad you enjoyed. But as you saw, it isn't the most difficult one to make, is it? It's probably a nice, easy start into the new year. Just that you can sit down and carry on and just, even if you started it, thank you, Dorothy, even if you just started it, and Patricia, and had to stop, you would know exactly where you were to go back to it and do it. You're going to have a go, Jack? Yes, yes. And I tell you what, Jack, wouldn't it be nice on your main, what about if you did an embroidery design from your machine and then cut your template around that, and you could have an embroidery? Do you know what? I might do one just to show you what I mean. And no zips. Oh, thank you, Jenny. No zips, Michelle. We've done lots of zips of late, so I thought I'd give you a break and have no zips. And for those that love doing zips, you could have a zip across the front panel if you wanted to. You could pop some on the inside. Just do it with your with the side of the bag lend itself to longer handles for a shot. Yes, it could. So you could make longer handles if you wanted to, absolutely. Therefore, just make them whatever length you like. Yeah, and use for all sorts, absolutely all sorts. But you with your embroidery machine, see what you can do. And what I would do, one for crochet, one for hand sewing, absolutely. What I would do, I would cut myself a piece of fabric which is bigger than this, and I would do my embroidery design, and I would then put my template onto the fabric so that I could put the embroidery design exactly where I wanted it to be. If you like, you can cut your fabric and put that in your hoop, but I find it so much easier to do the design and then put your template over the design so that you can place it where you want, because where you won't want it to be is low down, because that bit is going to be on the base of your bag, so you'd want it somewhere around here. But an easy way of doing it. I'll be here for the weekend, Jack. Okay, so your first bag can be for knitting or crochet, or for your slow stitching. Thank you, Yvonne. And your next one can have your initials on there. Absolutely lovely. Would you put thermolam on the fabric, then embroider? I would, Caroline. Yeah. I tell you what, when I do embroidery, I more often than not put... I put some form, or I always put a stabiliser underneath anyway, tear away, stitch and tear, even a tear away stabiliser. But I do like to have a wadding, and it's embroidery machine stitched through fabric and thermolam beautifully. You can imagine Leslie having a play with her embroidery machine very soon. Oh, Leslie, I would give it a go. It just adds that extra dimension to your stitching. If you use, like you do, beautiful fabrics. Oh, thank you, Margot. If you use beautiful fabrics, your bag is going to look wonderful anyway. Oh yes, my dinner beckons now, Pollyann. So yes, we should be going to enjoy. When you're using your beautiful fabrics, you're onto a winner before you start. If you use a fabric that you think, well, it's okay, one, you're probably not going to enjoy it, because you're not going to enjoy making it as much as if it were a beautiful fabric, because a beautiful fabric, you're always thinking, oh, this is gonna turn out beautifully, and you're thinking all those lovely thoughts about it, because you're looking at the fabric the whole time. So think about these things when you're making something. Use a fabric you love, because your mind will be full of the pleasure of making it, because your eyes are seeing the fabric all the time. Whereas if it's something dull and boring, you can't wait to get it finished, and it isn't particularly pleasurable. Somebody will love it, and it will be made with love, but not as much pleasure as you would have done with a beautiful fabric. Oh, thank you, Janet. Thank you. Yeah, use H640 instead of thermolam as well. Yeah, absolutely can. So the H640 is fusible, and it will give it a little bit more body than this one. So yeah, they're quite similar. This one's perhaps a little bit firmer, whereas this is slightly thicker with a softer feel. As I said, I feel that it will also take, thanks Penny, it will also take the foam stabiliser, either a Bosal or the Vilene Styleville, and that will give it a lot of body, but it will look more like this. So if you want to tuck it in and put press studs in there or cam snaps to hold it in, might be a little bit more difficult. We are indeed. Oh dear, Janet. I've seen people's New Year's resolutions, and that's to use their fabric up that they've got before they buy any more. And I was thinking, well, what's going to happen to my studios? They're going to be full of fabric as more comes in. Thank you, Eileen. I have enjoyed everybody's company tonight. I will apologise, first of all, for all those dashing off and coming back again, but thank you for bearing with me for that. And again, I'll thank you, Lynn, for the beautiful, beautiful flowers and the enjoyment, the mystery we had finding out where they'd come from. Absolutely lovely. One of the best sessions I've had. Yes, Gita, not before. I've got to take Martin to for some, I don't know, some check, some part of his pre-op check. So not first thing. I would do early afternoon, and but I've got the children taking them to school tomorrow, so before 2:30. I'm sorry to be, there's so many things that go on, aren't there? Oh, thank you, Lynn, thank you from all of you. And I think that is just the kindest thing, you know. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, Lynn, and all of you, Trishettes. I did put a post up, I think, between Christmas and the New Year, from Lindsay and I, saying thank you to everybody. You are the best. And do you know what? I absolutely mean that. You are the best. Oh, no worries, Mary. No worries. So I'll leave it there. I am really, really touched. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. So I will leave that with you to go and have your dinner if you've not already had it, and enjoy the rest of your evening. I won't be live tomorrow, but I will be live on Friday. I have in mind what I was going to do, but I haven't done it yet. And it is going to be, because I haven't told Lindsay yet, because we've been doing other things, I am, I thought I would make a holder. If I say it, it means I'll remember it. I would make a holder, like a block holder. So a holder for anything that you're making, including patchwork blocks, a little case sort of thing. So, who's saying welcome aboard? Welcome aboard. Okay. Yes, so that's what we'll be doing. We'll be making a block holder, which could be for your slow stitching and it could be for your patchwork. I'm going to leave you there because I'm just rambling on and I could carry on all night, but I am getting a bit peckish. So take care of yourselves, enjoy your evening, and I'll see you on Friday at 6:30 on the So Totally Trisha page. So bye for now.